some issue here with the slides, but hopefully it will come clear. So maybe like we can recap a little bit what we remember from the previous classes. So most of you attended most of the classes. So maybe something you would like to share, what you remember from either the first class that was long time ago. We spoke about the glories of bhakti, or why practice devotional service, why practice bhakti. Then the second session, we discussed about mantra meditation, how to practice mantra meditation, what it's all about. And then the last week class, we talked about studying the ancient scriptures, the importance of that and how to do it. We covered some tips that could help us to really absorb the ancient wisdom. And we also spoke about association of saintly people. So the importance of that and how to relish those connections. So just a brief overview of the previous classes. And if you would like to share with us one point, something simple that you remember, that would be really nice to recap. Anyone? Whatever comes to your mind. Or maybe you would like to share a realization. Perhaps you, like last week, Sanjana shared very nicely how she actually completed 16 rounds on one day, and that was a powerful, achievement. So if you like did something from what we discussed, that would be really nice if you could share with us.
One of my, I just want to share like a takeaway that I really liked from one of the sessions, where you said something about, when you taste, like when you get into your spiritual life and you get deeper involved in bhakti yoga, it's like tasting something. I think Sanjana also said this before, tasting something of a higher dimension. And that's when you lose, taste of all the lower material pleasures in life. So I really like that.
Thank you, Payal. That's a good one. Thanks for reminding us, because it is also how we can measure our progress. Like if we see that we are no longer interested in the stuff that we were so attached to before, like material enjoyment, sense pleasure, then we can actually see that we're making some progress, that we're experiencing higher taste. So naturally the lower becomes not so tasteful anymore. Thank you. Anyone else? I'm just trying to set up my slide. So maybe one more point from somebody, that would be really good.
I think what I took away from last class was to read a little bit every day, at least a verse. Sometimes I feel like we think, oh, I need to finish a book, or I need to finish the Bhagavad Gita, and I need to get to Bhagavatam, and I need to read so much that we get nowhere with it because we put so much pressure on ourselves. But keeping it as simple as just read a page, or read like 3 pages a day, or read just a verse a day. At least you're progressing, you're getting somewhere, rather than being overwhelmed with all the books that you want to finish reading.
Yes. Wow, that's a beautiful point, because like it's easy to get overwhelmed with the whole, stack of books and like, think like, how will I ever get there, but it's about progress, small little steps every day, and it leads to perfection over time. So yeah, thank you so much. That was beautiful. So let's start with today's topic, which is simple bhakti practices to keep you spiritually fit. So we already covered the core bhakti practices, which is chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and studying the ancient scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna book, and others like that. And we also spoke about the power of association. So these are like the crucial practices, which will really keep you fit. But then also there's some additional ones that we can also implement in our daily life. And we will see that it will kind of create the scene of like favorable environment, or like it will create a lifestyle of bhakti that will help us to move forward and progress in our overall self-realization and Krishna consciousness. So we'll be talking about 8 simple practices that you can start practicing on daily basis. So the slides are not ready yet, but maybe I'll jump straight into the practical part, which is offering food. Okay, I'm getting a reminder here. So the first one we're discussing is about rising early. So rising early, what time do you usually get up? A moment of truth.
Like 8, 7:38. That's unless we are doing our mantra meditation challenge. So we all push ourselves to wake up by 6:30 because we need to be there on Zoom. That's the only time we're all up together. Otherwise, at least for me, it's I think it's kind of late, and then I'm always rushing for work.
Right. Malavika is covering her eyes in embarrassment.
I woke up today at 10.
At 10? What time did you go to bed?
10:30. But usually I get up between 7:30 to 8 as well, just to get ready for work. Unless, as Sanjana said, we do our meditation. Then I wake up around 6 or just 5 minutes or 10 minutes before 6 to get ready for meditation.
See, like we need some kind of obligation, I guess, to bring us out of bed. Thank you for being honest. It is a challenge for most of us to wake up early, unless we have that habit, perhaps from early age. But the ancient scriptures, the saintly personalities, they are all emphasizing on this point that if you want to make progress in spiritual life, you gotta wake up early. Like Srila Prabhupada even said that if you're not waking up early, that means you're not serious about your spiritual life. You're not serious about attaining the ultimate goal of life, Krishna Prema. So something for us to check with ourselves. Am I really serious? Am I making the effort to wake up early in the morning? And the best hours to get up in the morning is actually Brahma Muhurta time. I don't know if you heard of this term before. It literally means the time of divinity, which is like a very auspicious time, and the energy in the atmosphere is very sattvic. So you will notice if you wake up at this time, then your spiritual practice will go much easier. You will naturally feel more calm and peaceful, because it's still that predominant energy of sattva around. And then from what time? I think from 6 a.m. in the morning or 10 a.m. From 10 to 2 is already the passion time. Or even, Prabhu, do you know what time the modes of nature kick in? So Brahma Muhurta, it's sattva, and then comes, nobody's helping me, and then comes the passion. Then we have, in the middle of the day, we have passion mode, which is all about go, do. And then in the evening kicks in the mode of tamas, or ignorance, where you naturally feel a bit more slow and lazy. And therefore, if we try to do our spiritual practice at that time, it will be a bit challenging. So morning time is the best. And, we will see even motivational speakers and, achievers in this world, and self-help books. They're all telling us that, wake up early, don't waste your morning hours. And we see that they recommend different practices, perhaps something for the physical body, going for a jog or doing some exercise, journaling, all these are good. But what we understand from the ancient scriptures is that primarily those morning hours are the best utilized for spiritual practice. What is that spiritual practice? Just like we discussed, it's chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and hearing the ancient scriptures. And you can also write down your thoughts, do the journaling a bit, to clear your mind, especially if you notice that when you're chanting that your mind is full of thoughts and stuff. So it's good to clear it out. So I don't know if you can see the screen yet. Not yet. It's coming up. It's disabled, so can we make it, can we share the screen from the slides?
Kyle, can you do that?
1 second. What do I have to do?
You have to make the slides able to share.
I just did it.
Not me.
It should be at the bottom. There will be a few icons.
I just did it. I think you should be able to now. Yeah.
Okay, great. It's working. Thank you so much. So that's the one talking about Brahma Muhurta. You can Google more to actually hear the benefits about this time, the sacred time, which starts around 1.5 hours before the sunrise. So it's different in every location. Like right now in Mayapur, the sun rises at 5 a.m. in the morning. So that means I have to wake up at 3:30 in the morning to catch that, right? 3:30 in the morning to catch that 1.5 hours of Brahma Muhurta, this most special time. So it's different in every season. Like in winter, it will be later. You can sleep maybe till 6 or something and you still catch the Brahma Muhurta because the sun rises later. So it's good to have a calendar. Like we use this, what do you call it? Vaishnava calendar. You can download it and there you can see all the, titis, it's called, like the timings. When does the sun rise? When is the exact Brahma Muhurta period? And it also shows Ekadashi. We'll talk about Ekadashi. So like that. So having this kind of calendar can help to see when is the proper time to wake up and slowly aim there, perhaps like not like jump, because it will be like a really stressful situation for your body if you like been waking up at like 9 or something and suddenly you start waking up at 4 in the morning. It will be a shock to your system. So like just reducing perhaps 10 minutes a week. So for 1 week, you're getting up 10 minutes earlier. Then next week, 20 minutes earlier. And like this, slowly, it kind of, your system gets adjusted to a new timing. Okay, moving on. So the second practice that is recommended to boost our bhakti lifestyle is to actually listen to kirtan and hear a class. This is like a very kind of enjoyable practice to do. I like to put the kirtan on while I'm cooking, while I'm cleaning the house and doing like kind of menial chores. In this way, my consciousness, my mind is exposed to the sound vibration and gets, purified and nourished. So this is something easy to do. You can download nice kirtans from ISKCON Desire Tree, or even YouTube. Aishwarya says she does that. That's great. Keep it up. So kirtans, it's really relishable. You can find your favorite kirtaniyas. There are so many amazing devotees in ISKCON who have, a lot of devotion, and it's expressed when they're singing, when they're glorifying Krishna. And in this way, when we're hearing them, we are also getting a taste of that bhava, of that emotion, of that devotion that they have. So this is how we stay in touch with the transcendental sound vibration throughout the day. We can hear a class. It is recommended that we hear a class by Srila Prabhupada every day. Like you can put short ones, 20 minutes, half an hour, to just, hear a class by a pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. And if you find the accent is like, you can't understand the accent, you can have those classes with the subtitles. In this way, you can follow nicely. And then also hearing a class by your spiritual master, if you have chosen one yet, if you're like really inspired by someone, than hearing a class by them also every day. In this way, you build up the relationship with that personality. So this is something recommended, to daily hear a class by Srila Prabhupada and by your spiritual master or somebody whom you're inspired by. So that's how you nourish your bhakti. This is a nice quote from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4. If somebody could read, please.
Whenever pure topics of the transcendental world are discussed, the members of the audience forget all kinds of material hankerings, at least for the time being. Not only that, but they are no longer envious of one another, nor do they suffer from anxiety or fear.
Thank you. That's a beautiful one, that as we go on hearing, all these troublesome things become distinguished. But it's interesting that it is said, at least for the time being. So that means that we should constantly be saturating ourselves with that transcendental sound vibration, with the topics of Krishna, with the, chanting and all these things. And then we will be constantly freed from material hankerings, and we won't be suffering from anxiety and fear. Because often, like, it is like that. If you go to a class in the temple, for example, or Bhakti Lounge or somewhere, and you feel so blissed out as you're hearing from the devotee or as you're sitting in the kirtan. But as soon as you leave the place, again, like, all these anxieties may pour back onto you. So it is like we should try to, mold our life in such a way that we are constantly surrounded by transcendental sound vibration, constantly hearing, chanting, remembering Krishna. Then the third practice that is recommended is to actually learn a verse from the scriptures. So you can pick your scripture that you really like, perhaps Bhagavad Gita, and you can find the most important verses. You can Google the most important verses of the Bhagavad Gita and slowly start learning them. Pick a verse a day or perhaps a week and learn the Sanskrit. It may be a bit of a tongue twister in the beginning, but you will see that it becomes so enjoyable, because the verses will keep coming back to your mind as you're going for a walk or doing something, something in the house. You will see that it's being penetrated into your heart and into your mind. So this is how, again, we can stay in touch with the transcendental sound vibration. Then the fourth practice that we could apply also is offering prayers and setting up a sacred place in our home, where we could actually every day come and offer prayers, offer obeisances, meaning bowing down in front of the sacred pictures, in front of the altar. And this is where we can also practice our meditation. And you will notice that when you practice your meditation, your chanting practice in front of the altar, in front of the pictures, it becomes more powerful. You can try, and what you need to do, or what you could do, is getting some pictures. So these are the kind of essential pictures that you could place on your altar, in your sacred space somewhere at home. So getting a picture of Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder of ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Then a picture of Panchatattva. In the middle, we see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came 500 years ago to propagate this chanting of Hare Krishna and inundated the whole world with this practice. And then also having a picture, perhaps in the center of the altar, of Radha Krishna. So find a picture that really attracts you, that you feel is very beautiful, and you can set it up on the altar. Maybe I can briefly show you how it looks practically. So how do I swap? Okay, like this. So let me come closer. So what you can do is you can place your, so you can get these kind of, this is called Guru Parampara, where we have Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and like this, the whole parampara or succession of spiritual teachers. So this is important to have, because whatever worship or whatever meditation we do, we first offer to the Guru. So in this sense, to Srila Prabhupada, or if you have your spiritual master, then to your guru, you also place the picture there. And then every day you can offer some flowers. You can either, pluck it like this and just put it at the base, or you can have like nice flower vases as well. And then, so here we can see that the picture of Guru is kind of at the bottom, at the base. And then more elevated should be the picture of Radha Krishna, right? So it could be the picture of the deities, or it could be, the painting of Radha Krishna, whatever you prefer. And then again, you can frame it nicely and put it up more elevated. And then also slightly elevated should be the picture of Panchatattva. So this we see Panchatattva with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the middle and his associates. So this also could be slightly elevated. We don't have that here, so we just put it next to Radha Krishna. And then also you can have a picture of Nrsimhadev. Maybe that's too much, but Nrsimhadev is the deity that protects the devotees. What else? Then we also can have a picture of 6 Goswamis. But again, that's a different topic. And we can have Tulsi Devi, who comes in the form of a plant in this material world. So you can have the actual plant of Tulsi and, worship on your altar, or you can have a picture. So like this is how you can set up your altar. And then you can have like an incense holder where you can offer an incense every day. So you start by first showing your incense stick. You can first show your incense stick to your gurus, in a sense that we are offering through gurus. We're never doing the worship directly to the Lord. We're doing to Guru, and then Guru transfers it to the Lord. So we first offer to gurus, and then we circle perhaps 7 times around Radha Krishna, and like this. And every day we can offer an incense to our altar, purify the space. And then what else is important to mention? I think this is the basic. So we will talk also how to offer prasadam, how to offer your food on your altar. So again, you need to have like a special plate that you use only for Krishna, that nobody else eats from that plate. Okay, any questions on this point?
I have a question. Is Nrsimhadev supposed to be inside your altar or outside?
So, that's a good question. Thank you. So it could be, you could place Nrsimhadev also outside, and even Radha Krishna, you could put maybe on the wall on top of your altar, like that. So as long as it is nicely visible and it's in a clean place, well lit, that's like the most important. You could have your altar also on a bookshelf, like somewhere where it's like a nice clean place. And then you see, depends how much space you have on your altar. If it's like a small place, then put the essentials, put the Guru picture, put Panchatattva, Radha Krishna, and Nrsimhadev could also go there, because every day we sing Nrsimhadev prayers for protection. So it's nice to have a picture of Nrsimhadev there as well. Okay. So moving on. How to offer your food. Now, this is a very, very important practice in Hare Krishna. Sometimes we're called as a kitchen religion, because it's so much, around prasadam, eating sacred food. So this is actually easy to learn, but perhaps it takes a bit of, determination, that I really want to offer all my food, whatever I eat, I want to offer first to Krishna and then take. Because sometimes we're like so impatient, and we cooked something nice and we immediately want to taste it, and we don't have that habit to first offer it to Krishna and then accept it as Krishna's remnants. But it's really important to learn this one and practice it, and we will see that it's a life changer, like Prabhupada even said that we can eat our way back to Godhead simply by taking Krishna prasadam. We are getting purified, we're getting elevated. So let's look step by step into the process of how to offer food to Krishna, so that whatever we eat, it's spiritual. It purifies us. So first aspect to remember is that the food should of course be pure. It should be vegetarian. That Krishna only accepts vegetarian food. So we should really be careful when we're buying our bhoga. Bhoga means like that which is not prasadam. When we're buying our food, we should read the labels carefully so that there's no like products like gelatin, which is made of animal things like bones and stuff like that. Also, when we buy cheese, like oftentimes the cheese that we buy it has this enzyme called rennet, if I pronounce correctly, but it's extracted from the intestines of the calves. So we don't want that. It's not pure. So we should be very, very careful when we're buying our food. Make sure that it's pure. It doesn't contain any traces of meat, fish, or eggs. Again, lots of products, cookies, if we buy things like that, it very often contains eggs. So in the Hare Krishna diet, we avoid these strictly. Then choosing food that is best, because we want to offer the most fresh and good quality products that is also healthy as well. Cleanliness, keeping in mind that everything should be really nice and clean in your house, especially around your altar, in your kitchen. It is said that cleanliness is next to godliness. So keeping that cleanliness standard really, really high can also help us uplift our consciousness. So simple things like washing your hands carefully and not tasting the food. I know this can be a difficult one, because like, how do you know if you put the right amount of salt or the spices, unless you taste it? But I think this comes with practice. Like as you learn to cook with your intuition more, you will know how much to put of what. And of course, we offer a prayer before we start cooking. And in this way, we're being like an instrument. We're not really the doer, but Krishna or Radharani is cooking through us. So avoiding tasting the food, because it is considered that as you taste the food and then again you're like touching the preparation, it's like considered to be contaminated, like your karma is there. So it's like a subtle point, but it goes also when you're tasting the food from somebody who is like highly spiritually elevated, you get the qualities as well. So that's why in our Hare Krishna tradition, there's a practice of like eating the remnants of the gurus, the swamis, or just spiritually advanced devotees. This way you also get a trace of that bhakti that they have. So, and similarly, if you eat food that is like contaminated or touched by, for example, dogs even, or like people who are not spiritually minded, then you also contaminate yourself with those qualities. So anyway, that's a side point, but it's an important one to remember, that as we eat, we are solely focusing that I'm cooking this meal for Krishna's pleasure. I'm not cooking it for myself to enjoy. So that Krishna should taste it first. And then the final point is that you should have a special plate that you only use for Krishna to offer the food on the altar. So buying perhaps a new plate that you only use for Krishna. And also a little cup where you can pour the water or a drink that you make. And a little spoon also could be there. So whatever you cook, then you can put it on that plate, on Krishna's plate, and place it in front of the altar, in front of Krishna's picture, and recite certain mantras. So now it's perhaps a bit more difficult part, reciting the mantras. So these are the 3 different mantras. So the first one is dedicated to Srila Prabhupada. The second one is to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the third one to Krishna. So we are reciting these 3 mantras. So this one is 1, and we're chanting it 3 times. Then this one 3 times, and this one 3 times. And that's it. So we chanted the mantras, and then we can, pray to Krishna in our own words that please accept this offering I cooked for you. And yes, that's a simple process. And I put the translations as well, but you could look it up later on. It's good to know the translations, because sometimes the tendency is that we learn the Sanskrit, we learn the mantras, but we don't really know the meaning. So then it becomes like a mechanical, robotic activity. We don't want that. We really want to meditate also on the meaning of the mantras and chant it or pray with our heart. So now so imagine you place the offering with the food that you cooked in front of Krishna's picture. You chanted the mantras. Also important thing to kind of note that when you're chanting the mantras, you're ringing a bell in your hand. So you're ringing the bell, you're inviting Krishna to taste the food that you cooked. And then, so we did that. And then we, again, bow down, offer our obeisances. And after that, we allow some time. Just like when you eat, you need some time peacefully to eat your meal. So similarly, we give some time to Krishna to eat the preparation that we cooked. So give at least 5 minutes. You can give 10, of course, 10, 15 minutes, but minimum 5 minutes for Krishna to accept the food that you offered. And then after, say, 5 minutes, you can then transfer the prasadam. Now it becomes prasadam, or mercy of Krishna. Then you can transfer it back into the pots in which you cooked, and you can wash Krishna's plate, right? And then you can serve. You can serve the prasadam to everyone. And also remember to appreciate that this prasadam is actually non-different from Krishna. It is infused with Krishna's love. So we are actually partaking in this mercy of the Lord. And side point to remember is that actually the real mood behind this activity that we do every day is the devotion that we are cooking, we're offering, and we're honoring the food that we offered with devotion. That Krishna is not like, he's not like hungry or in need of anything. He is a God. He is full and complete in himself. But what he is looking is actually our bhakti or devotion. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Patram pushpam palam toyam, that you can offer me a leaf, a flower, some fruit or water, and I'll accept it. Yome bhakta prayachti, if it's offered with love and devotion. So he's ultimately looking for that love and devotion in our heart. But that is not to say that it doesn't matter what you offer him. Of course, you should still try to offer the best that you have. But if we're like poor and we don't have anything, then even if you offer some water, Krishna accepts it. Like, this is incredible mercy of the Lord. This is a nice point also to meditate on, that Krishna actually says that I accept prasad through the mouths of the brahmanas. So feeding the devotees is most auspicious thing. And we know that in the Vedic tradition, no sacrifice is complete without feeding the devotees. So when you have like different functions in the Vedic tradition, there's always ample prasadam to distribute and feed everyone, because the understanding is that Krishna accepts it through the mouths of the devotees or the brahmanas. So this is what we can do when we want the blessings and when we want to please Krishna. We can actually invite the devotees to our house and cook nice prasadam and feed them. And then we can really know for sure that Krishna is pleased by such activity. Okay, moving on. Also, when it comes to eating, there is something called Ekadashi. Perhaps most of you know about this. Ekadashi literally means 11th day. Eka means 1, Dasi means 10. So it's 11th day after full moon and new moon, I think. I'm not sure. But it basically falls twice a month. And again, you can check the days on the calendar, Vaishnava calendar. It even sends you reminders that, okay, tomorrow is Ekadashi, get ready for a fast. So on Ekadashi days, it is very, 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 very important to actually fast, observe a fast. And it doesn't have to be like a full fast, or what we say nirjala. Nirjala means nir, without, jal, water. So some people do nirjala Ekadashi fast, where they don't take any water, they don't take any food. So this is dry fast. It may not be feasible for most of us. So see what works for you. But the main idea is to actually fast from grains. So like any kind of like chapatis and rice, grains like that. Then pulses, legumes. So again, not taking dal, any beans on these days. And then so grains, pulses. What else is there? Yeah, these are the main ones. On Ekadashi, we are avoiding these heavy things. So you can still take fruits, you can still take vegetables, you can take milk products, paneer. So you can still have a really nice diet on Ekadashi, but the main idea is that on those days, because they are so spiritually potent, that the idea is to actually reduce your material activities, such as eating, sleeping, and doing other things, and to really bring more focus and attention to spiritual activities, because on those days, on Ekadashi days, there's a lot of benefit that we can receive from those activities. It's like multiplied many, many times. So on Ekadashi, we should try to like be a bit more Krishna conscious, perhaps read extra, chant an extra round, do kirtan, hear a class, really like increase in some way our spiritual activity, with the understanding that on those days it is so much more powerful. So Ekadashi, you can try and follow twice a month. It falls at different days, so you can follow the calendar for when are those special days of Ekadashi. Then the seventh practice that is recommended is to actually always take guidance from senior devotees, from those who are already on the path. And we know from the example of Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, who approached Krishna with great humility and said, Shishyasteham sadimam tvam prapannam. Now I'm your disciple, a soul surrendered unto you, please instruct me. So Arjuna kind of took that position of a disciple, of a student. So similarly, we should try in our life to find those people who are more advanced than us and approach them with humility and ask them for guidance, that please tell me what is best to do. So like nowadays in ISKCON, we have mentorship systems. We have guides that we can take shelter of, and every once in a while we meet and discuss our progress. You can have a sadhana chart where you fill in every day, how is your practice? Did I manage to wake up early today? How many rounds did I chant today? So like every day you're keeping a track, and then perhaps once in a month you're discussing with your mentor, what is like working out, where do you need to improve? So in this way, you're tracking your progress and you're getting some advice from somebody who is experienced. So this is a very, very important one, seeking guidance, and ultimately also taking shelter or approaching a spiritual master, a guru. So we have two types of guru. Somebody could be your shiksha guru, which means somebody who gives you instructions, like who guides you. And we can have multiple shiksha gurus in our life, and we all do have that. And then we have another category, which is called diksha. Diksha means somebody who gives you formal initiation. Means like they connect you to the parampara, or the succession of the lineage of the spiritual practitioners in Bhakti tradition. So they give you a formal initiation, and they are kind of committing, and you are also committing to follow them, to seek guidance and follow what they say, and they are making that formal commitment to help you to make progress on the path of bhakti. So this is something very, very important to accept. In the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, this is like the main practice of bhakti. It comes like it is given 64 items of bhakti, and the first 3 or 5, I can't remember, they're all about guru, that one should take shelter of Guru, one should inquire from the Guru, one should serve Guru. So it's really, really emphasized that this is something very important if you want to make gradual progress in your spiritual life. So Shiksha is instructing, giving you guidance. Diksha also could be instructing, giving you guidance, and formally connecting you to the succession of Bhakti. And then offering some seva. I also wanted to share a story about Mother Kulangana, who is, she passed away 3 years ago, but she was serving at Bhaktivedanta Manor for over 40 years. And she really taught me this principle about doing service, with your heart. And she exemplified in her own life how she simply served devotees. Her entire life was dedicated for serving others, whatever skill she had. She was an expert cook, so she was doing that as a service. So what I learned from her is that the perfection of life is to actually use your talent, use your skill in serving Krishna, serving his devotees. So we all have some talent. You may feel like, oh, I'm not good in anything. I'm like mediocre in all the things, but it's not true. We're all gifted with something. It's just the question of like discovering it, finding and cultivating that talent. Like Sanjana, she's so good in doing all these graphic designs, and she uses it in serving the devotees, the community of Bhakti Lounge, by producing these amazing newsletters every month. So this is how you use your skill in serving Krishna, in serving devotees. So you all have something that you can offer. So this is an amazing way to connect with Krishna through offering some service, serving the devotees, and that's how you get the blessings, because Krishna is more pleased when we're actually serving his devotees than even when we serve him directly. And Mother Kulangana, she really she gave me so much mercy. I feel like it's only by her mercy that I'm now like where I am right now. I remember once we were traveling, I had the great fortune to go with her to Kerala, to India. Every year she would go to India for Ayurvedic treatment for 1 month. And then one year, somehow or other, Ashram decided to send me to assist her, to cook for her, to just make sure that she's comfortable and, do all these little things for her. And for the whole month, I was just in close association with her. So I got to see how a pure devotee lives. Like every morning she would wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning, and we were living in one room. So I would hear her. She would go out into the balcony and she would chant the Maha Mantra with great attention. Like she would literally be crying, begging, for Krishna's mercy, please accept me, And so I got to see how a pure devotee lives. And she was so focused, even though the treatments, Ayurvedic treatments can be really draining. You don't have energy because it's like a lot of toxins coming out. So even though she would be tired, she would still ask me let's talk about Krishna. She would pull out the Bhagavad Gita and she would give it to me and she would tell me, read something. And I would start reading. And then she would tell me, now say something, your thoughts, your realizations. And I would start sharing something, and then I would see she would be falling asleep, but she would still be so enthusiastic to hear, about Krishna, to constantly be immersed in that sound vibration. And she gave me some powerful instructions, about family life, because she told me, you're gonna get married, so you have to know what are the duties of a wife. So I remember some days we spent just reading Bhagavatam about the duties of a good wife, and it was so nourishing because she was a nun, she wasn't like a married lady or something, but she was still like taking care of me so nicely, making sure that I'm getting educated on what is a good wife supposed to do based on the Vedic Shastras. So anyway, that all that comes from getting close to somebody who is practicing bhakti, trying to serve them, trying to please them. You get the mercy, and you can get the instructions and guidance. And this is so powerful. It's like really can change your life. And Bhagavad Gita tells us that whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. So it doesn't matter whatever you're doing in life, try to bring it somehow to connect it to Krishna, that whatever you're performing, whatever like tapasya, austerity, do it as an offering to Krishna. In this way, it becomes purified, it becomes free from contamination, free from karma, and you get to advance as well. So just to summarize our simple bhakti practices that we can apply every day is rising early. I think this is like the most important probably. Like it's really, really, I remember when we got married and we were asking some senior devotee couple, Prabhupada disciples, we were saying, please share some, advice, for grihastha life, for family life, because they were married for like 50 years or something. So they were saying like, what can we tell you? The most important thing is you just get up early. You get up early, do all your sadhana, and then everything will fall into place. Like everything follows from that. Because if you get up late, then your sadhana, your spiritual practice is messed up. Like you're not like, you don't have that shakti that comes from the atmosphere of Brahma Muhurta time. Like it's difficult. Like the modes of nature, Maya around you, like overpowers. So anyway, I really appreciated that advice that just get up early, what's the big deal? Go to bed early. And then we also spoke about listening to kirtan, hearing a class. So constantly immersing yourself in that sound vibration to uplift your consciousness. I know some devotees, they even play kirtan throughout the night, or they play Srila Prabhupada chanting Maha Mantra very, very softly throughout the night. So imagine you're sleeping, but you're still making progress. Then the third practice, we spoke about memorizing a verse. So choosing some nice verses from the scriptures that inspire you. You could also choose different prayers from devotees, from the great devotees in the Bhagavatam, how they pray to Krishna. You can memorize those verses and pray as well. Like for some of us, it may be like a bit alien or like unnatural to offer prayers, but really a powerful way to connect to Krishna is through offering prayers. So if we're not like natural at it, we can learn from the devotees how they pray and use the same words. And then slowly we will catch the mood and we be able to offer prayers in our own words as well. So that's also connected to the fourth practice, offering prayers. Then the fifth practice, we spoke about offering food. So whatever we eat, we should try to offer to Krishna. Perhaps in the beginning, we can just simply use our own words and heart that Krishna, please accept this, and chant Hare Krishna mantra. I remember when I first started practicing, I had no idea how to offer food, but I could remember the incredible taste of prasadam, because I was going to a preaching center back in Lithuania where they would feed us on Sunday feast. They would offer like incredible preparations and it all tasted amazing. So I was like, mesmerized by the whole thing. And at home, what I started doing, I would just play kirtan on my computer and I would put a plate of some food that I was going to eat. And I was imagining that food being exposed to the sound vibration of kirtan was becoming prasadam. That was my idea. I had no clue. But anyway, still good. So offering your food, it can be really, it can really transform your life because, the consciousness with which the food is cooked, it affects our life. So you will notice if you're eating outside in some restaurant and then notice how it affects your consciousness. You can sometimes become like disturbed or anxious for no reason, but that is simply because the cook who was cooking the meal was disturbed or anxious or stressed out or angry, and that consciousness of the cook enters the food, and then you eat that food with that kind of emotion. So then your mind becomes contaminated. So it's very, very subtle science, but it definitely works. We can remember that experiment that Japanese scientists performed. I forget his name, Emoto something, where he did an experiment with different with freezing water with different vibrations. So he would expose a glass of water to a vibration of like heavy metal music, and then he would freeze it and then take out, and through a microscope or like this special device, he would see how the texture changed. And the texture of the water that was exposed to like heavy words, metal music, it became like all disrupted. It wasn't nice. It wasn't like well situated. So, and then he did the same with like good vibrations. He even like put a word love on the glass of water and like froze it, and then again he checked, and it was like the most beautiful frozen, what do you call it, like those snowflakes, not like crystals, yeah, crystals. It was like the most beautiful. So this is how he proved that actually sound vibration affects the water, and our bodies is what 70% water. So whatever you're exposed to, the sound vibrations, it affects you. So then we spoke about observing Ekadashi, the importance of the special days that come twice a month. And we should really take advantage to make that extra progress on those special days. And the importance of taking guidance. So having someone in your life who is your well-wisher, who could be your mentor, who could, help you to track your progress, whom you could ask questions. So like that, in this way, you can, again, make steady progress with the guidance. And then offering some service, seva. So finding out what you're good at, using your skill to serve the devotees, to serve the mission, and like this, engaging your talents. Because we all want to be useful, it's like so, such an inherent nature that we want to be of service. So finding something that Krishna naturally gifted you with and using it back to serve Krishna. So we will conclude here, and just the final recap, what we covered in our 4 weeks of awakening series. So we spoke about mantra meditation, the importance of that. So try to apply it in your life, at least around the day. Keep it steady, keep it consistent, and you will notice how your life changes to a better. And then the importance of studying scriptures every day, a little bit, just a sentence, a few verses, a few pages, whatever you can do. Slowly building up, purifying our consciousness, connecting to the divine. And loving connections, finding like-minded people, spending time together, checking in on a regular basis, sharing your thoughts, your realizations, and discussing scriptures. And then serving the great souls. So using your skills in the service to the devotees and Krishna. And spiritual nutrition, offering food and honoring prasadam. Again, very, very important. So we will conclude here. Thank you so much. How do I stop this?
Thank you, Yugala. Does anyone have any questions? Maybe you can unmute and ask the question. Anything from the 4 sessions? I actually have a question. I have a few. Okay, so the first one, something I've been thinking about this week actually. What do spiritual people do to have fun? Or devotees, what do you do? Because Prabhupada says, has recommended not to watch movies, or even association is again with devotees where we're talking about Krishna, but just to be practical in the kind of life we live, what can we do to just have fun?
That's a good question. Wow, I don't even know actually. Like for me, it feels like already the spiritual life or bhakti yoga, it's already so much fun. Like going for kirtans, dancing. I love dancing. Like this is like probably the best part for me, like the fun part where you can just really like dance and you're dancing for Krishna's pleasure. So like it's double the benefit. And then what else? Like for me, fun is also cooking for Krishna, different preps, and fun is also coming together with the girls. We have regular sanghas here in Mayapur. We just come together and we share our thoughts, realizations. We laugh as well. Like it's not like we're like all serious, like Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. It's like it's fun. I don't know. It's just natural. And kirtans, I mentioned that. What else is fun? Going on pilgrimage with your friends. Going to India to visit the holy places where Krishna performed his pastimes. this could also be so much fun because you're traveling, you're exposed to like new scenes, and you're learning about Krishna, and you know, it's fun. And reading about Krishna's pastimes is also fun because Krishna is so mischievous. You know, he performs so many you know, activities that make you laugh and make you feel like he's an amazing personality. So I don't know, this is something that comes to my mind. Fun, what else could be fun? I guess like as devotees we can like come together and do some kind of activities, like go for a swim or whatever is available. I know many devotees like do these kind of seemingly like material activities, but because you're doing it with devotees, you're in that sangha, so it's no harm because you are in that association. You again talking something spiritual, you're spending time together. So yeah, but for the movies, I guess you're right, there's not much you can do. And we should just you know, wait for, you know, for more Krishna conscious movies to be produced. Nada is saying, I think one starts to find, oh, it disappeared. I think one starts to find true enjoyment and fun in spiritual practices and loses the mundane enjoyment from regular things like watching movies. You agree? You agree? Yes, I think that's a really good point, Nada. But what do we do in the meantime, as we're still like, you know, like they say, being that kind of cloud that is neither here nor there, like you're or what do they say, in the no man's land, like you're neither experiencing spiritual like taste much yet, neither you're like enjoying so much the material taste, so you're like in between, you're neither here nor there. So that in between stage could be a bit difficult. So then what do? You have to kind of persevere, keep on going. It's a slow transition, baby steps. Yes, it is baby steps. So yeah, I don't know, Sanjana, you have any further thoughts on this?